Moss.
And I'm AJ Finney.
And this is
Hippie?
Not Hippie.
Started on Monday. Yeah, I got a message.
Okay, Monday?
Monday.
Mondays are days where things can happen.
Message comes in and says, "Hey, Zach.
Oh, no.
Would you be comfortable
Okay.
modeling?"
That's all right. No, before we move on. Hey, Zach, would you be comfortable? Sounds okay.
Modeling.
All right. Now it's getting a little spicy.
Underwear.
Okay. All right. Was this from Craigslist? Is this a Craigslist ad?
No, it was a random Instagram message, and I normally would have.
You
been
didn't
like,
answer it, right?
I would have been like, "This is fucking suspicious."
Yeah, it's
something
if someone's
is
like,
afoot.
"Would you mind coming to my basement and putting some britches on and dancing around?"
Or like something is afoot. Underwear modeling. Something was a dong. But yeah, normally I would, of course, immediately delete that message and be like, somebody's fucking with me. But then my friend, our mutual friend Elise, hit me up,
yeah.
fellow Castronaut.
Person who was like, "You know what, AJ, you're awfully jittery all the time." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You should do ketamine."
But so yeah, everything always comes back to ketamine on our podcast. But no, she hit me up and was like, "Hey, these people need, people to model underwear, and they like your look. So yeah, get back to them or whatever." So I message them and I'm like, "Yeah, I will do anything for money." So yeah,
was there a bulge test? Was this just your personality? Did you have to audition? How did they just decide, "Hey, I like your look"? Had they seen you in underwear before?
They had never seen me in underwear, so I think their whole thing was like, it's 2022, so, they're like, well, let's have some really nice bodies in there, and then let's throw a wild card out there.
How about we get let's get a tall man that looks like he wants to care.
Let's throw a guy whose waist is bigger around than his legs are long out there. Let's throw an old 36-30 pant size out there and see what a man with 6 inches more waist than leg can do out there.
So you're telling me dong was not even in the picture?
Well, I thought they were like, wow, so they don't need to know anything. And I'm like, Elise must have just vouched very hard for me or whatever, And then I get a message the next day that's like, "Hey, would you mind sending us some pictures of you in your underwear?"
Are you serious?
Yeah. And I was like, "You're going to pay me. As far as I know, this is legit." Of course.
So, there's a point where while you're telling me about this, I'm genuinely already concerned. In the back of my head, I'm going, "You didn't do this, right?"
Oh God. Yeah, I threw on my fanciest underwear.
Okay. So first off, I want to know the range. What is the worst underwear you have?
Oh God, the worst underwear I have is probably like a pair of boxers that is maybe 12 to 15 years old. I don't know.
Too thin to be seen?
Yeah.
Oh, my watch alarmed me that was not.
Yeah, it was like exposed taint in those boxers. The taint was gone 5 years ago.
Inform the FBI.
Yeah, the ones you just you really want to hang on to. But
what's the mid range? What's everyday underwear?
So I have a lot of just like flat colored boxer briefs. I switched to boxer briefs. My underwear evolution, I started with I was a whitey tighty boy.
Brief man. We were all brief men.
We
were boys.
A brief boy.
Brief boys.
Yes.
For a brief time, we were all brief boys.
For a brief time, I was a brief boy. And then when I got into like late middle school, early high school, I started going for the boxer shorts.
Yeah, you're not trying to look like a superhero. You don't want to
then-
choke out the boa
But
constrictor.
then you like realize once you get old and fatter and between the legs and sweaty and stuff, you're like, why do I need all this loose? Why do I need a loose pair of shorts under my pants? Like that doesn't.
Yeah.
You
The
know, your
longer
balls start dangling a little lower.
Yeah.
You know, they start slapping you in the backside every once in a while, and you're like, you know what? I could use a little
Yeah.
more support.
The longer the egg sac gets, the smaller the old nest needs to be.
So what's cool about these underwear that I'm modeling is that one of the main things about them is that they have a ball bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. Before we get there, what's your best underwear? What did you put on? When did you pull the drawer and go, this is what's going to get me this deal?
So there's
That may be
there's
someone
some colored
inviting you.
There's some colored jockeys. I mean, I'll show you the pictures that I sent to these people right now. We'll pull it up. Why
And at
not?
no point were you like, this is someone about to OnlyFans me.
So this is my best pair of underwear. It's loading here.
Yeah, but
There,
okay.
there we go.
nice.
That's here for the viewers at home.
So that's
Uh,
nice. It's got a nice pattern to it.
yeah, that's they're jockeys. They've got a good fit, and
Good
as you
fit?
can tell, I aced the bulge
Yeah.
test. Oh boy. Yeah.
I'm still concerned that you're sending near nudes to someone you've never met.
Yeah, I know. It almost feels like, you know, like a man in a chat, something an old man in a chat room asked me when I was a boy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because at the time when you were in the chat room talking to these hot ladies and you're like, oh, God, is this a 43-year-old lonely man?
So I totally was talking to some like 14-year-old girl online, and like she sent me some pictures of her in the mail. This is like before the webcams and stuff. When I
How
was
old were
14.
you? Is this,
We were both like 14.
that's
And we
just
were
wanna
talking,
clarify
and then
that.
she sent me some pictures of her in the mail that's like she's playing basketball and doing stuff or whatever. And she goes, hey, will you send me a Polaroid with your shirt off? And
Oh, no.
I did. I took one and I sent it to this
Whoa.
girl. But
So,
there's definitely some dude that jerked off to 14-year-old boy me. That had to, like, because I'm like, really? She was like, I want a shirtless, like, you know, as a 14-year-old horny boy, you're like, fuck yeah,
Oh,
she
dude.
wants a shirtless Polaroid of me. And then you're like, no, that's something a total pedo was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm in somebody's, like, secret pedo collection. Facial recognition someday is going to be like, we found pictures of you shirtless as a 14-year-old boy
are you good?
in a man's house. Yeah.
That happened. Women, like, so if you, obviously at 14 you thought it was a woman, so you would do anything at that point. When
Oh yeah, I would have
was-
sent her pipe if she wanted to see it.
So I had a girl that I was dating. We went into my closet and she was like, she goes, I just want to take a picture of you. Just, you know what I mean? Torque, just full throttle, right? And just the best. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Definitely. Why wouldn't I? And it wasn't like I practiced. Like I just went down full rod, just fucking, you know, standing at attention. You could see my feet way down there, which really made it look better. Like, as I'm shooting from the top, bird's eye view, my dick looks as big as my shoes at the time, and I'm just like, it looked good. The problem with this is somehow at school, my sister that was younger than me by 2 years in the lunchroom ended up with it. It passed around the school.
Oh man.
And it hit my sister, and I don't know how she realized what it was, but someone told her. Then she looked at it, got so mad, she came and threw it at me, and she goes, can you keep your dick out of this? And I was like, oh, my God. And
Because she recognized your dick.
yeah, I think that's what it was.
She's
Very
like,
recognizable.
That's my brother's pee-pee.
I know that mole. But anyway, that just made me think of that. Let's get back to your manic Monday that may have led you into a basement and been touched.
So I send off those pictures, you know, I'm like, I'm killing it. You know,
No
fucking-
second
Well,
guessing
the
this at
other
all.
reason why they ask is they say, we just want to see if you have any scars or tattoos. And I'm like, you know, do stretch marks count as scars? I'm thinking, you know. Cool. So I sent him those pictures, and then I get a message back, and she goes like, hey, do you think you could come in 30 minutes early, hair and makeup is going to take way longer than we thought. And I'm like, oh my
What?
God. They're like, you're ugly.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
We're going to need to do more. No, it's because I just have such long hair.
Yeah.
They didn't realize that I was packing so much heat up top.
Oh, for a second I thought they were gonna hair and makeup the bottom bulge there.
No, all face. But yeah, so I'm like, cool. Yeah, I'm a team player. I can be there. And when they're doing it, they're like, hey, this is for our holiday catalog.
Okay, so real quick, Monday you get the message. Tuesday,
Send off the underwear pictures.
right? Friend vouches.
Yeah.
Tuesday they ask for the nudes. Wednesday, or
They're
is it-
not nudes. They're underwear
well,
pictures.
yeah. I mean, it's JCPenney catalog nudes,
I mean,
right?
if they're as good as you could get if you were a boy that wanted to jerk off in the 90s to me in boxers.
Yeah.
Sure, AJ. They're
So,
I guess they're nudes. They're definitely the most revealing photos I've ever sent somebody for a job.
Yeah.
Like they're definitely photos that if I sent those to any other job I've ever had, I would be fired. But
It's one of those things where you look at it. The first thing I thought was this is either a before or after.
But so when they're telling me, I'm like, they sent me some mock-ups and it's like me standing with reindeer and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So it's going to be just like me posing with some fake reindeer or whatever. And they're like, fake
Who are you gonna be?
Santa.
Oh shit! you're a nearly nudie Santa.
Yeah, I'm sexy Santa.
I like nearly nudie Santa more than sexy Santa, but I'm not saying you're not a bad. You're a good looking man.
So thank you, AJ. That's all. That's the whole reason I did all of this was just to get you to finally admit that I'm a good-looking man. But now that I got it, we can quit the
We can
podcast.
quit.
Hippie, not hippie, out. We're like hottie, yes, hottie. Me, AJ knows it. He loves it. He can't get enough of
I
it.
didn't say. This is what happens. This is why you can't take compliments.
So anyways, they're like, yeah, they sent me these mock-ups and it's like me standing with reindeer and I'm like, oh, so cool. It's just me and some reindeer. And they're like, yeah, we're going to have real reindeer. And I'm
Wait,
like,
real reindeer?
I'm like, oh, that's funny. They're joking around. They're not.
Yeah,
There's no way that
because you're gonna be the real Santa.
Yeah.
So they're
I'm going
trying
to be
to
the
get you in the
real
mood.
Santa with the real reindeer. So I'm like, okay, sure. I'll get up there. And as I'm like pulling in to the thing, I cut this fucking trailer off. I cut this fucking trailer off because I'm not going to make this turn. Yeah. And as I'm going by, I see like a little bit of like reindeer horn like sticking up in the fucking trailer. And I'm like, holy shit. And like I cut him off and then I like turn and I'm like, fuck, did I just cut off the reindeer handler? Like, and they're not fucking around. There's real. And of course he fucking turns in right behind me and I'm like, oh
God.
shit, I'm sorry. I hope you didn't have to hit the brakes, go hooves to the paint or whatever the fuck you call it when a reindeer slaps into a wall. But so yeah, he brought 2 reindeer and he was way early. He was like an hour ahead of schedule, which I think is like, that's really funny to me. Like, if you're going to show up early for the party, that's one thing. But if you're going to show up early for the party with 2 fucking reindeer. So I see the guy and I'm like, I go and park somewhere weird because I'm like, I don't want the reindeer handler to know that I'm the guy that cut him off coming into the fucking.
Because you don't want him to be like, hey, Donner, hey, Blitzen,
Yeah.
that's the fucking guy. Get him.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right. I go and park in like kind of a weird spot and then walk around and I'm walking up to the gate. I don't see him and I'm like, maybe that's just another guy with, antlered animals in a trailer, like
Another guy. How many real reindeer wranglers are you running into?
Well, so what's fucked up, man, is I go in there and I go, I just saw a trailer that I think had reindeer in it. I'm like, you weren't kidding? Like, there's going to be real fucking reindeer here? And they're like, fuck yeah, real reindeer.
I love it. Like, fuck yeah.
And I'm like, have you ever done this before? And they're like, no, not with reindeer. We did a buffalo once and we did an alligator once. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like,
both of those went so terribly wrong. We've dropped down to the just the ease of a reindeer.
so I go in there and there's just Well, I walk into the room, and then there's like this hot model babe, and she's just like, they're talking about football, and
What? The hot model babe is talking about football?
with the camera people, and the Broncos come up, and she goes, "I hate the Broncos,"
What?
and I'm like thinking oh, she's a fan of another team or something. She's like, "They traded my boyfriend last week, and now I have to move or whatever," and
Whoa.
I'm like, "Whoa, you're like a real model, like."
I'm not even a real reindeer guy.
Yeah, I'm not a real Santa, but you're the real deal. Yeah, cool. So I go in there and I'm getting ready, and then the lady comes in. She goes, the handler is here with the reindeer.
And at any point did you go, which one? Isn't there multiples?
And I'm like, what the fuck? And she goes, yeah, I told him right now to just walk him around. He's got him on leashes, and he's just walking him around.
Leashes?
Yeah, he's walking him around the block on a leash.
Like they're little
like
dogs?
they're dogs. Yeah, they're big dogs. But so I'm like, what the fuck? And then she leaves, and like I'm just like curious. I'm like, how fucking hard was it's August? How hard was it to get fucking reindeer at this time of year? And they're like, oh, it was super easy actually. We had 5 options to get reindeer.
What?
Yeah. So,
How much money and power do you have when you're like, oh, we have several places we can get reindeer right now?
Yeah, well, and I love that Denver in August, it's just like, you need a fucking reindeer? I got 5 options. I can get you a fucking reindeer in 20 minutes, huh? What kind? Do you need a Blitzen, a Donner, or a Dashin, or a Blitzen? What the fuck? Do you need a Comet? Because I can get you a fucking Comet. You need a Comet?
It definitely sounds like something that rich people talk about when they're hammered going, oh, you want a reindeer? I get you a fucking reindeer. No, I'm serious. I'll get you a
I
reindeer.
mean, I tried to get an ostrich egg for Sam Talent to eat on stage in South Dakota, and that fucking was hard as hell. I left a lot of weird messages on people's things. I was like, we need a fucking ostrich egg immediately.
And
We're
they're
willing
like,
to pay top dollar.
Block this number.
Yeah, and then they never responded to my calls. But so anyways, I'm laughing about this, and then she comes in and she with this woman who's I guess with I haven't seen the actual handler, but it's like the handler's wife is there too.
What?
So she like comes in, she's like, "What are we even doing here?"
Did you cut us off?
He's like, "What are you?" She's like, "What are we even doing here? What are we bringing these reindeer in?" And the woman's like, it's a photo shoot." And the woman's like, "What? He didn't tell me nothing about a photo shoot." And the woman's like, "So these reindeer are going to be fine with loud noises and bright flashes and everything, right?" And she goes, "I have no goddamn idea."
What? This woman's just like, what in the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, and then she goes, "That son of a bitch, he doesn't ever tell me nothing. I don't even know if the reindeer can walk up the fucking stairs."
Nothing's better at a shoot than someone who's bringing something in and just has a total meltdown right beforehand.
Oh yeah, no. So I'm like, all right, goddamn. And then she leaves, and the human handler comes in.
Wait, who was she?
The woman who booked me, Hannah is her name, I think. But she comes in and she's like, "Hey, man, that reindeer handler, he's real strange." And I just, like, I can't hold my tongue. I just go, "He's a fucking reindeer handler. Like, what the fuck do you expect? The guy handles reindeer for a living. You called this man in August, and he's like, you need a fucking reindeer? I'll be there tomorrow with a fucking reindeer on a leash."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was just like,
His name is Reindeer Randy.
Yeah, God, and I'll show you a picture of this guy. He looks like kind of like a methy Santa.
Oh.
But
you're lucky they didn't see him and go, you know what? We got the real deal.
So they get me, and I'm in underwear, and then she's in like a night. It's like a top and a bottoms. This one, like, and she's like a beautiful blonde model, you know.
So is what she's wearing also something that the company sells?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they have they've built this fake roof inside with a chimney, and there's fake snow on it and lights, and it's like, we're on the roof.
I'm just happy you're not in someone's basement.
Well, yeah, and I'm just like looking tough. Like they have Santa like doing the Beat Boy poses and stuff. So her and I take some shots, and then they're like, "All right, bring in the reindeer."
Oh my God! So they allow you to get comfortable first before they bring in the wild animals.
The wild animal, and there is nothing between me but the ball fucking cup, the ball cradle in these underwear. They're very nice underwear, by the way. They felt nice on my boys. Good support. But yeah, so they just bring in the wild animal, and I'm thinking like, what the fuck, you know?
How many deer?
And-
One,
and
two?
Just one, because
Okay.
I think they're like two. He can't handle two at the same time, you know. At first they're like, we want 2 reindeer, and then they were like, wait, these are wild animals
Yeah.
that have never had their picture taken
Yeah.
before.
And Randy's wife is clearly freaking out on whether or
So-
not they can get into the
So
building.
they like bring this fucking reindeer in the door, and the wife is gone. I never see the wife other than her going like, fuck him. Like, for all I know, she just like walked out of there and never like left his ass. Like, really, you know, but apparently they taught the reindeer how to climb the stairs in the time that we were shooting on the roof or whatever, because they
You
got
know they
that.
just fly. They fly.
Or maybe that's why we only had one, because and Comet was who we got to work with. Comet was the reindeer that I got
Are
to.
you shitting me?
Yeah,
right
and
now?
it was a girl reindeer. So they bring her in, and I think maybe Comet was the only one that could climb the fucking stairs to get up there. So they bring Comet in, and the guy like takes a test shot, and it goes boom, like when they're bringing the deer in, and the deer goes like fuck, and just like bucks its head into the wall, and I'm like, oh cool. So the reindeer hates the fucking camera.
Oh, so when you say test shot, they take a shot of the photo.
Well,
Like
they're
they
just
take a
he's just
photo.
like checking the light in the room and shit. There's like not even anybody out there. The reindeer's not even in front of the flashbulbs yet, but just the noise of it like startles the reindeer. And
So
then the
this
reindeer
is
kind of
not
gets to
really
know.
a domestic animal.
Well, no, not really, man. He's just got it on a goddamn leash, you know, like a fucking dog. And he's just fucking like handling this reindeer and bringing it in. And they're like, all right, you guys go and get on the roof. And then they're like to this reindeer handler guy, they're like, all right, now bring the deer right here and make it do this. And he's like, well, what the fuck, man? You didn't tell me the deer would be doing this. So, he's walking around, and this reindeer man does not want to fucking hang out in front with me. And like, at first though, the reindeer, when it first sees me, it's like, holy shit, Santa, my best friend, you know, and it just shits and pisses like everywhere.
Oh my
like
God, that's
all
the
over
worst.
the place. So like the people that are doing this photo shoot, the PAs or whatever, it's like, well, I guess my job is clean up reindeer shit and piss now. So they like grab a ton of towel. It's a big pile of piss too. And they grab these towels and they start, and man, it's really starting to smell like a farmyard in this fucking film studio. But they throw all these paper towels down, and the fucking methy Santa, he just like jumps in there and he goes, no. No. Let me do it. I don't mind at all.
Oh my God.
Like he said it in a way where I was like, holy shit, is this guy's fetish cleaning up reindeer
Yeah.
piss? And he was like, well, you know what? I breed them and I feed them, but at the end of the day, I love clean up their peeing, you know, or something. I was trying to make that rhyme, but
Sounds
I really ruined
like
it.
one of those things where he's gonna wink at you later and go, you know, reindeer piss is an aphrodisiac. Meet me in the parking lot, cut off boy.
Reindeer piss cured my cancer. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm like, what the fuck? This deer is wild, and they're trying to get him. So they want me to hold. They have a gold like pimp leash, and I'm Santa. I have gold rings on my hands. They want me to hold this fucking reindeer on a goddamn gold choker.
Were you introduced? Where you got
No,
to
they
pet
didn't
the reindeer
introduce me to the reindeer at all, and the reindeer's like kind of freaked the fuck out, you know. Like I made eye
yeah.
contact with him, I could tell he's like, "Fuck, Santa's here," you know. Like,
Yeah,
so
well, it's also the reindeer comes in. There's flash. There's people in their underwear. Part of the reindeer brain is probably going, "I'm about to get fucked."
so we're trying to do like get it, and the reindeer, you could tell the reindeer's like, "Fuck you guys," he's pissed, you know. Comet's mad, you know. So they're like, "All right, take Comet for a little walk to chill out, and we'll take a few shots at that." And so like me and this woman are modeling again, and then he comes around and they're like, "All right, Comet's gonna come in, just hold it tight." Like the whole time for the modeling, they're just like, hold your poses, be ready. So if the fucking deer does what we want the fucking deer to do, we can get the goddamn picture, you know? So he brings the deer in, they're like, coming in for a pass. They're like, hold strong, you know? And I'm like modeling like strong as shit. And the deer's like coming by, and then it just stops right in front and then drops another huge piss.
Hold strong,
And
strong.
then I go,
deer's
and then I'm like,
can't.
the deer's pissing again, and the guy goes, yeah, I had another one back there behind the roof too. There's two pisses back here. So
The deer's probably just freaked the fuck out.
oh yeah, no, it's just like, what the fuck is going on? So at one point he's like, well, here, they're like, just grab the reindeer and this thing's got full fucking horns on it, man.
Oh, God
They're like,
damn
just
it.
grab the reindeer by the collar, and he's like, if the deer starts to buck, if you feel it start to head, he's like, just wrench down on that fucker
Wait,
and twist
you-
real hard.
you
Yeah,
have
to
it
me.
by the leash?
Yeah, so I'm holding this fucking reindeer by the collar, dude. And he's like, all right, if it starts to buck, just wrench. And the thing starts to buck, and I start to wrench, and the reindeer's like, fuck you, you're not my real Santa. And like fucking like threw its horns into me, dude.
Oh,
and
no.
the guy's like, yeah, we're real lucky they're velveted right now, or that might have fucked you up. Like,
Whoa.
so yeah, man, I worked real hard. And the pictures came out great. And at the end of the day, Comet was fine, and I think, ready to not ever have their picture taken again.
Yeah.
But
But it turned out well. This is going to be a photo ad, or is it going to be a commercial? Like what's?
yeah, it's like a photo series, and yeah, I don't. Did you see the video
I
of,
did see the video. It was pretty
of me with that fucking deer?
pretty impressive.
I don't know. I had to. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So look
Dude,
at that.
I didn't realize until
Got that
right
fucker on the
now.
leash right there. He's just like walking around like.
The rack on this thing is pretty monstrous. I love how he just shakes his head like, I will pull you off this roof.
Yeah, here for the. And we'll have this all, up on the website and everything. But
Wow.
yeah, dude. So
That was yesterday?
that was yesterday, man. Pretty wild fucking day.
How long was the whole shoot?
It's about 3 hours.
Okay.
But it took a long time for them to do my Santa makeup because, yeah, I looked like a Greek fucking god.
yeah.
And I love it since I'm a man. They're just like, yeah, sure, let's just put real fucking paint in his hair. No, they use some sort of cosmetic stuff, but they're like, oh, yeah, we put a little on an eyebrow last night, and it washed out just fine. I'm like, eyebrow, a little different than all of my fucking hair. But no, after the 7th time of washing my hair, all the silver finally came out. But,
Nice.
yep.
At least you know what you'll look like if you start to go gray.
No, I was thinking that. I was like, I'm not afraid to go gray anymore. I like it. I'm
You
like,
stepped into it.
yeah, I'm like,
You did have a very like Zeus appearance to you.
yeah, I'm like, there'll be bit work for me as an old man.
Yeah. Fuck, I didn't do anything. Like I just heard what you said, and I was like, I mean, I did ketamine. That's the weekly thing, but
When did we meet up last? Was it last Wednesday?
last week. Well, yeah, we did it. Yeah, last Wednesday.
Yeah, you were K'd out of your goddamn mind still.
Yeah, it's pretty wobbly trying to keep it together, but it was fun.
Yeah. How's everything going with that?
Going fairly well. I'm actually, you know what? I don't have the paper with me. I should have pulled it, but they did the stats, and this was the one thing that was, I think, most impressive. They gave me the scientific data of like what I filled out when I first got in there, and then post 5th session. So before I started my 6th, and what it said was anxiety was down a solid 50%. Depression was down 52 point something percent, and PTSD was 57.83%.
Oh, yeah, because you had no idea what the test you were taking meant. You're like, well, if I write that I feel the same,
Well, no,
I have a drug problem. But if I write that this is helping me.
yeah, but I mean, I answered everything honestly, and it was all based on the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it also didn't help that I was like in a 3-month downtime when I filled out the first form.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you've been a little more chill. I mean, we thought that one of our segments on the show would be AJ's Spiral of the Week, and you haven't been Did you have a spiral this week?
I did. No, I don't think so. They don't last as long as they used to.
Yeah. Well,
I
no,
think,
they used to be a 13-minute bit, and now what are you gonna do, man?
I don't know. I don't really know.
Because I feel like your spirals are a big part of your comedy.
They
but
are. I mean, I think that I think I can still create for sure without the fucking spiraling myself into the floor. Yeah, I don't know. I've been happier, which is weird. I think it's different, but
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, I went to a spot last night because I did notes at Buke's class. I did the drop-in thing at Rise. And I got to
How was it?
It was fun. I opened up and did like a few minutes and really was just riffing. But of course, I didn't tell anyone that I was like, hey, I'd been on ketamine at like 9 a.m. So I hope I can keep this together. But the riffs were fun. I just
I like it. It's a class on stand-up, and you're like, hey, I'm going to go do improv. Oh, I mean,
Well,
it is an improv theater, but
it is. Well, my thing was, I was like, I'm just going to work on some material. I'm going to pick these topics. I'm going to kind of run. And then at 4 minutes, let me know. And then you guys tell me what you think. And that's,
what was the worst joke that you heard?
oh, I don't, dude, that's the bad part is like on those
Do
days.
you remember a single joke that you heard last night?
I did. But I thought everyone did really well.
Yeah.
So it was like, that was the nice part is everyone got up, did fairly well. There was one person that got up and it was really, I thought it was amusing, but it was strange when then she got up and she just goes, I'm not here to do stand up and I don't need notes. I just don't know how any of this works. And I was like, wait, what? And it was great. And like, I was so in it that I was like, oh, this is the best bit ever. Like you're Andy Kaufman. You're like Andy Kaufman for all of us. And then she goes, I just want to say thank you for all you guys have brought to us. And I was like, who's us? And then she just goes, and I was like, well, do you have any questions or anything before you get off the stage? And she goes, yeah, how do you do this and not get sued? And I went, what? And she goes, yeah, I just don't want to get sued anymore. And I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean you don't want to get sued? She goes, I can't get into it. I'm just saying.
Or I'll get sued again.
Yeah,
Yeah, holy
sue me.
shit, because that's how lawsuits work.
Yeah. And so whatever it was, she had used someone's real identity and then
To sign up for the open mic?
something, right? And then got sued. And I mean, if she hears this, I'm not saying anything bad. Like we talked afterwards.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely going to hear this. Everybody listens to this podcast.
And
When you hear this, miss, I'm sorry that AJ's talking shit on our famous pod about you.
sorry that we're gonna sue you, but
Yeah,
it's no,
we
like
are.
it was very amusing, and it was so
Let's litigate this lady.
Lydia the litigator.
Yeah, all right.
So, but it was fun, and then there were a couple really really good acts, people that had it together that were just looking for like notes, and it was fun. I really enjoyed that place, and it I enjoy the staff there. It was great times.
Yeah, my room was a real fucking roller coaster ride last time. Had the Advents and Adventures folks there. So
What is that? Oh wait, no, I remember.
yeah, it's
So
like
it's
it's
like
like the
couples, right?
singles group, but they're not. It's like sick of like calling it dating and it being weird and creepy. Why don't we call it just hanging out with other single adults? And if you fuck, then it's not weird. I
Right,
think that's
right.
kind of like their pitch. or
I
whatever.
do like the idea of a date that goes to a comedy show because they're just like, I'm gonna see if I can hang around your person without us being able to talk for a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a group date, and a lot of times they're like really good crowd members. But if you're going like super, like kind of gross sometimes,
So too dirty
or
or-
too dirty, or
Did someone go too dirty last night?
Well, Kobos had a real roller coaster ride of a set, so like he
He's such a
closed
likable
strong.
dude.
But yeah, but I mean, he like went up and then he was like had some bits where he's just like cratering, and when they like his jokes like didn't get anything and they were like super awkward, he'd be like, "Oh hell yeah, dude, hell yeah, oh man, I'm so killing it, I'm fucking killing it, god damn, hell yeah, I'm so happy to be, hell yeah,
Oh
I
man,
could tell that he was having a little bit of panic mode on
he was
certain
going.
things.
Oh, he went to
Yeah.
AJ Brain. We're getting out of this. Fight or flight.
But yeah, he's like getting ready to go up, and he's like, I was like, before the show had started, I was like, you're doing 20 minutes. I'll just let you at 20. If you're having fun, you can go
Yeah.
more. And he's like waiting to go, and he's like, hey man, they seem a little tepid on some of Luke's stuff. You want to light me at 18? I let him at 18, and he ended up doing like 5 more minutes, and then I mean he landed the plane.
Yeah.
And it was a good show or whatever. But yeah, there's definitely some up and down where they were just like, that's too fucked up, or like,
Yeah.
And that crowd can be fucking weird, man. Like they can be like,
Yeah.
they're like, we love you, and then you say like one thing, and they're like, we don't like that. We don't like
Yeah.
that at all.
Now we
So,
don't like anything about you.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good. I like it when someone's like, "Oh, hell yeah, dude, fuck, hell yeah," and that you could tell they're like trying to just kind of keep working it, as opposed to just the turn where they go, Yeah, fuck you people. Which is another angle that I was waiting to see if that's what you were going to say, where he's just like, fuck them.
No, that's like the way I've seen you go sometimes, where you're just like,
I've had
oh
some,
yeah, fuck you guys.
Yeah, I've had some.
I watched you
I've had
once.
some not proud moments on stage.
I watched you once go after a heckler in the crowd like 10 minutes in a way that
It's hard.
took you like 20 minutes to recover.
Yeah.
But you did, and then once you recovered, you ended up doing like an hour 15.
Yeah, well, because we had to get over that problem. And I remember that time where I was like, man, I really thought I was going to lose it there for a minute. And I remember you going, yeah, it's when you lose it, it's like your cool uncle.
Yeah, it's like
just was like, who drank my last fucking beer?
Yeah. No, like my fun uncle Randy.
Yeah.
You know, we used to joke around a lot. He took me to see like a lot of the, you know, my favorite comedies when I was a kid for the first time. Like we went and saw like Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber and you know,
classics.
like a lot of the greats together. But he fucking we were goofing around. I was like 5 years old, and you know, I like to, you know, I always like to make people laugh, even when I was young.
Yeah.
And I was like doing something that was making all the adults laugh, and then like I kind of hit a lull, you know, where no one was laughing, and I was like out of material, and I didn't know what to do. No, I fucking kicked him right in the dick as hard as I could.
I should laugh. It's so terrible. Just like, I'm out of bits. Watch your dick. Bam.
Well, and I kicked him right in the dick, and he was not laughing, but the other people in the room were laughing a little bit. And he was really mad, and he was like, "That is not funny. That is not funny. You don't kick people in the dick." And I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure it's fucking hilarious.
I'm glad you grew out of the kicking in the nuts phase.
Yeah, he sat me down and had a stern talking to me where he's like, "You don't ever do that to a man."
Meanwhile, it's like the one tear's coming out.
He's like, "That is not funny." And I'm like, man, I mean, and now thinking, I'm like, that's hilarious. If I had a time machine, I would go back and watch young me kick my uncle in the dick over and over again.
Oh,
fuck.
My brother, my younger brother, Philip, I remember we'd watch so many like of these Van Damme and Seagal movies and like Commando and all that shit where it was an over the top.
Yeah, yeah.
And my dad's friend David, they were at the house and there was constantly like getting drunk and arm wrestling, like just for whatever. And my younger brother's like 7 years younger than me. He might be, I don't know, 8, something like that.
Yeah.
And him and David are getting ready to do it. And David is a grown man.
Yeah.
And so they go once.
So it's going to look really bad if he loses.
Right. So they go once, and obviously, like, Philip gets to that point where he's like, and he's doing that, like, he would get so mad. Like, he was my younger brother that I would pull the controller out occasionally and just kick his ass on video games, and he would fucking lose his shit. And so David beat him, and then he's like, I mean, I could probably take you. And then my dad's razzing. He's like, oh, we thought you were a big tough guy, Philip. Not really, huh? And so they're drinking and razzing him up, and he's just getting like pink in the face. And he's like, you can hear him going, I want a rematch. I want a rematch. And I'm like, Philip, just
how old is he?
He's probably like 8 or 9. He's really young.
Okay.
And he's just getting mad. He's like, I could take him. I know I could take him. And I was like, it doesn't matter. He's a grown man. Just let it go. And he goes, I want a rematch. Like, we're they're at the table drinking, and Phil's just going, I want a rematch. And he's just like yelling it. And David's like, I could take you. And he's like, well, we'll see, won't we? I want a rematch. I want a rematch now. And so they go up, and as they lock up, I don't know what my brother thought. My guess is way too many movies. So he's sitting there. They're looking at each other. My dad goes, are you guys ready? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, I'm going to count it down. When I hit 1, 3, 2, 1. And my brother just punched him in the nose and then slammed his hand down on the ground. And he goes, fucking beat you. And I was like, dude, you do not do that. He just fucking sucker punched him in the face.
What did the old dude do?
Old dude went, what? Like he was, because he got jacked for
Was
a
it a
minute.
good punch?
It was right in the nose.
Oh,
like
fuck,
that
right
point
in the
where-
button? Did it,
Right-
like, was there blood?
No blood, but there was a little bit of the, like, where the eyes
A little
water up.
tear, from that 9-year-old boy putting
Yeah.
everything into it?
Dude, it was insane.
You gotta
When I saw
swing
that
for the back
happen-
of the head, Philip.
Yeah. And I was like, what are you thinking? And he's like, I don't need a rematch.
Well, what did your dad do?
Oh, my dad just laughed. He's
Oh,
just
yeah.
a lunatic.
Oh no! I mean, if my kid did that
Dude.
to you, I would think that was fucking
Right.
hilarious.
That was the thing of like, yeah, my dad was essentially like, there was a moment where he's like, that's fucked up, but that's my boy.
Jesus.
Oh.
Well, fuck, man. What's our horoscope today?
Oh, God. Yeah, let's look it up. Sorry, I gotta.
What's the thing that you keep keep making sure your screensaver hasn't shut off for 45 minutes over there?
I
All I
don't
can
know.
see is
It
this
just-
article. It just says hippies clashed with something.
I don't know. It was just I was just looking at dumb things and I thought it was kind of hilarious. Like, so I was just kept perusing different hippie news from different points and found it to be somewhat amusing. So I did not read my horoscope today. Today's horoscope for you and me, because we're both Geminis,
Yeah.
states, make sure that the battle you fight today is yours, Gemini. There's a great deal of tension in the air that might erupt when you least expect it. It might behoove you to... I can't help but, when I say behoove, think of that goddamn reindeer.
Yeah, it might behoove Comet.
Yeah. So it may behoove you to stay detached from the war that apts to ensue. Keep things light and try not to take things too seriously. Your philosophical viewpoint and strong spirit are the very combination needed to resolve the situation.
Do you know what I hate, though, is since you've been reading me these Gemini horoscopes, they've been so on with my life.
Yeah? Oh.
Does
this
that
is
one
the-
register with you?
It does. Yeah. I'm like, oh, fuck. There's all these battles going on. Well, there was, because there were things that at work even where people were getting into stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm just not going to deal with this. But I didn't read this,
Yeah.
you know?
Well,
I don't know.
it's good for you. What was your weird hippie news that you had?
Oh, yeah. Let's get into this. This might be kind of fun. I just saw this headline because given the fact of the name of the podcast, I was like, well, I just want to see what was going on with hippies and maybe what hit the news. And this one was fun because it hit Boulder at one point. So it just says, the headline goes, hippies clashed with Boulder residents in the late 1960s. Right?
Yeah,
And then
clashed over what?
There's a picture. Well, there's this picture of just these hippies. And this guy, there's one dude who's clearly like, what's going on? Right?
So I love it. You're like, do you know what would be great for the podcast? A bunch of jokes about a picture that nobody can see.
Right. Oh, yeah. I guess I could turn it.
Yeah, show it to a camera.
So, if we can see this or this.
All right.
So
And that's just all it says? And then there's just a picture?
No,
It
this
doesn't
is-
say what they
it gets-
clashed over?
it gets even better. So I also thought it was cool because this happened in June 13th. Also a
Oh,
point
so
of
we're
Gemini.
in peak Gemini season.
Peak Gemini time, right?
Yeah.
So on June 13th,
What
1968.
are the twins up to?
Yeah. Oh, they're getting crazy. June 13th, 1968, a nationally syndicated newspaper article. I like how they said a nationally syndicated newspaper. They wouldn't tell you what it was, right? Already, this newspaper is like, the Daily Camera has decided we're against the hippies. We're just going to make up that this was written somewhere. So a nationally syndicated newspaper article stated that, quote, hundreds of hippies, unquote, were pouring into Boulder. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? That's not weird. The long-haired drug users claimed that 2 days later, an asteroid would hit the planet and the world would end. I thought you would like that one. But Boulder was one of the few places where people would be safe. So just the element that at
The
some point...
Flatirons will protect you from an asteroid. I
Right.
mean, that's a well-known fact.
Well, the funniest thing about this one article here just in this one paragraph. The first time I ever went to Boulder, there was a street person that I was like, that person looks interesting. And they had a pizza box open. And on the pizza box, it said, need money for fuel
For my
spaceship.
Yeah.
And I was like, this town is weird as shit.
Yeah, I've always seen the one like need money for parts for my spaceship.
That's a good one. Well, this guy clearly looked like he was still on blast. So one more here. According to a reporter, Boulder area residents were more disturbed by the hippies themselves than the possible end of the world.
Yeah. No, I mean I would be.
That's fucked up. Like, here's all these. I mean, look, surely they look like freeloaders, but
So, all right. You're in Thornton, you know, your town where you live. And
Yeah.
a bunch of hippies come in and they're like, Thornton's the only place where you're going to be safe from this asteroid that's going to hit the planet. Do you change your day?
I think ooh, God, that is tough. Do I change my day because hundreds of people have now said that an asteroid's going to hit, but this is a safe place? There's part of me.
This feels like a South Park episode.
Yeah, it does. I wonder.
Asteroid's coming. Man. You know, like
It does make me wonder if they read this article at one point and was like, we need a story. We've got 13 hours before it's going to air.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what happened. Isn't there the hippies? Yeah, and they cut the jam band music to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
They
hippies
put in
the walls
Slayer
shit.
and then they just leave.
Yeah. No, there was this guy, this church guy in Denver that kept saying that the world was going to end for a while, and around the Mayan times, I don't know. I feel like that's just
It's like
something
2012.
like there's like a bin that newspapers just have where they're like, slow news day. Let's go talk to the crazy old coot that thinks the world's going to end next month, you know? And he changes it, you know, as soon as it doesn't end, he just moves it like a month further or whatever. But
Yeah.
like I was following this guy and he had this giant thing on his truck and it said like, the world will end. And it was like 4 days from the day that I was following this guy. And I was so pissed because he was going 10 miles under the speed limit. All right. And that's when I was like, I know this guy's full of shit. All right. Like if you're going 25 and a 35 and you think you have 3 days left to live, you're full of shit. All right. You're going to at least be going 5 over if you think you got to run the fucking errands, you know, like.
Right. You care about a ticket? My first point would have been, is his tags expired or are they up to date? Because why do you care about your registration if you know the world's going to end in 3 days?
Yeah, man. Fuck. The whole Mayan shit. You were probably worried about the Mayan calendar, weren't you?
I don't know if I was. I mean, it was in the back of my head. I don't know if I was terribly worried about it. I would dive into that stuff pretty deep because I
how about
enjoy it.
Y2K? Did you have some fear of Y2K?
I do remember that was all over the news, though. Right?
Yeah,
that was the whole thing.
No,
of, like,
even the news was like, you should be afraid of this.
yeah, they were really leaning into that, and then it was just like,
what did you
lights
do?
flickered?
Do you
or
remember
something.
what you did for Y2K?
I don't. No, I don't.
I was 17.
God, I would have been like maybe 20.
Yeah. Oh, I remember what I did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I stockpiled drugs for like 6 months before that. I had fucking acid, I had mushrooms, I had ecstasy.
But why were you stockpiling all
And
of it
some
if the world was
opiate.
going to end? You're like, I'm going to
Because I'm like, if the world ends, I'm gonna
doing
be
all
on,
of it?
I'm gonna be on every drug when the world ends, and I'm just gonna watch it burn on fucking everything.
I like
so-
it. You would have just seen the world end if you'd have done all the drugs and then be like, "What? It didn't end?"
Oh, I did all those fucking drugs. I did all of them, and yeah, and fucking. But the one thing I forgot to get was weed. So we had this like ounce of like stems, like we would never throw our stems away.
Yeah.
And basically up until midnight, because we wanted to smoke at midnight. So most of my New Year's night was just tripping balls through a ton of stems, looking for little flakes of weed to put into a pile so that we could smoke one bowl before midnight.
Oh, right before the world was supposed to
and
end.
then I was on all the drugs. We smoked the bowl, and I walked outside and was like, and fucking
Nothing happened?
Well, what's funny though is that like on that New Year's, like everybody walked outside at midnight and was like, looking around like, is it going to end, you know? Like, because South Dakota, that's the time zone that it's actually going to end in, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, it's happened in important cities like New York, but, you know, Rapid City, South Dakota at midnight, that's when it's actually the world's going to end for me because I'm important, you know? But, yeah, what a stupid plan, though. Like, if the world would have really ended, you know, because it wasn't like I didn't think there was going to be like some sort of biblical end where God was going to just take the good people away or something.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be like technology quit working and we don't have electricity and fucking planes are falling out of the sky and shit like that. And it like, and 17-year-old me is like, yeah, you should be on fucking multiple hallucinogens when that happens because that's the best way to handle that. Yeah, kids are fucking dumb.
Dude, there was a guy in Lansing, Michigan I was talking to after a show, and it was...
Lansing or East Lansing?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay. It's important.
Oh, well, it was near the college.
It's not.
Okay. But this guy told me, because we just got into a drug talk after the show, like, what drugs have you done? What drugs would you do? What drugs would you like to do? And what drugs have you never done? And meth came up at one point, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. It's just nothing that ever appealed to me or seemed...
You've never done meth?
No, it's not something that ever appealed to me or seemed like something I'd want to do. And this kid, he was like maybe 22, and he's like, oh, I did it. And I was like, yeah, did you enjoy it? And he goes, not at all. But I did it at 11:58 at Y2K when everything was he goes, the world was going to end. And I was like, yeah, I don't want the world to end without bumping some meth. And I was like, so he did some meth. And he goes, I was like, what'd you do? And he goes, felt like under my skin was itchy. I didn't like that. But man, I picked a coffee table up 10 times. I'm strong. I'm strong on meth. And then I was like, and then what? And he goes, my friends got mad because I wouldn't stop fist bumping.
Well, you remember when you first moved into the house, right? That I was like,
yeah.
Oh, and hey, I'm pretty sure that's a bag of meth in the chicken coop out back of the house.
Yeah.
Because I found a bag of meth in the alley and I put it in the chicken coop because my plan was just like, if the world is ever going to end,
I'm going to need fuel.
Well, you know, these people put all their supplies together. And I'm like, fuck all these supplies. I'm just going to get some meth and
run to safety.
Well, I mean, think about it. You don't need to eat. You don't need to sleep. You know, you're like a fucking. Meth heads are built for the fucking for the apocalypse, dude.
But eventually, that's not long term.
Well, dude, you
got it like a week.
Like
and
you
a
said,
half.
I'm real strong on meth. Yeah, you can go take food from people while you're on the meth. Go take their supplies and shit.
This could turn into like a chud.
Well, and I don't know. I came to the conclusion finally that my actual like boogie out bag, you know,
didn't need.
No, I didn't. It didn't need meth. I just needed a bottle of whiskey and a rope.
Yeah. Well, that's a sad ending.
Well, yeah, the
like
world's
the idea
gone.
Of like a
I don't
boogie
know.
out bag with boogie dust.
It doesn't like get me hard to be like, you know what I want to live in is a world without society. That sounds like fun, where any woman I love could be raped and murdered at any time. God. You know, like I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna get drunk. I'm gonna tie up a nice rope. I'm gonna put my head in it, and I'm gonna say goodbye. That's how it's gonna happen for me.
Wow. I don't know what I would do if I feel like I would head for the hills. I really think I would try to like find a way to forage.
You would be so raped before you even got out of Denver.
I am very rapeable.
Oh yeah, they would be holding you down before you reached fucking I-25.
Supple butthole.
The 300 hippies that came in here warning you would be fucking
Dude,
holding
get
you
out
down.
of here. Thornton is safe, but when you leave, they rape your butthole.
It's funny. There's this article that comes up in like weird news feeds every once in a while, and it's about my friends, but it's basically just like hippies were arrested on the roof of Boulder Library last night for shooting fireworks and playing music, and yeah, it was my friends. Yeah, they were hippies, and they were like, that was a technique I used to use like when I was homeless. It's actually a really nice place to sleep, is on a roof.
And
if you can get up there, because nobody can fuck with you or see you, and the sunburn will wake you up in the morning.
Oh yeah, just getting roasted on a.
But sometimes you can find shade and everything. But I don't know. It's kind of like a way to have your own area and not get fucked with. But yeah, they got up on top of the library and got caught, and the cops came and busted them up there. But yeah, Stinky Pete.
Dude, what a name. Stinky Pete? That's someone that you knew on the street?
Yeah, I still know Stinky Pete. He's got a band called Hot Damn Scandal, I think. So,
Wow.
yeah, Stinky Pete, Chris Jeffries, James Frostwin.
Are they all still in San Francisco?
No, James is in New York. Chris is in Germany.
Oh, wow.
And Pete is in, I think, Seattle or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking, it's always fun to just like trail off. These are people I know from the past, but
I thought this was a fun one.
yeah.
Woo. We'll see you next week, folks.
Bye-bye.